Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. A very warm welcome from a very chilly London in the UK, where in places across the country today it's been colder than Norway. Right now, -4, about -7 in many places due tonight overnight. It's a cold one. They reckon a couple more days of unseasonably cold temperature and snow. Here is today's news about electric cars and the future of transport. My name is Martin Lee, and this is your EV News Daily for Thursday, the 1st of March 2018. First of all, by the way, a quick mention for Moss on my Twitter. Any chance of getting the podcast on TuneIn so that I can listen in my Tesla? I didn't realise that it wasn't on TuneIn. I presumed iTunes, Google Play, etc. would feed into that, so that Moss in Ontario, I think, would like to get it in his Tesla. Let me work on that. Give me a couple of days. I'll do some research and I'll update you. Well, coming up on today's podcast, we will talk about another battery teardown and Skoda playing catch-up. But first of all, let's talk about a Hyundai and Kia triple whammy. Hyundai, Kia and their electrification plans. Yesterday we heard about the Hyundai Kona, and 24 hours later still more reaction coming into the new model, which just goes to show how excited people were about it. Most of the reaction's been very good. The headlines of the 64 kilowatt hour battery, the 0 to 60 time of 7.6 seconds, and the 300 miles almost of range on WLTP ticked the three big boxes that people seem to have settled on for electric cars. How big's the battery? How far do I go? How quick is it? And cost doesn't seem to be the primary issue at the moment. Well, the Hyundai IONIQ is the most effective EV that I know of, efficient, I should say, EV, for going a long way on a modest battery. So although some say that WLTP figure is still more optimistic than EPA, I'm inclined to think that Hyundai know how to get the most out of a package, if that makes sense. Well, the EPA range is definitely more realistic, but here's why almost 300 miles could be pretty accurate. The other big car release recently using WLTP range was the Nissan LEAF. That packed a 400 kilowatt hour battery. It gets 150 real-world miles, give or take, right? It can be over 200 in some use cases. That's using tried and tested battery chemistry. Well, the new Hyundai Kona is the first to use some new cells, which have made a big step forward in energy density. We know the LG Chem technology also includes thermal management, which the LEAF doesn't. This version of the LEAF doesn't. Maybe the range is realistic for the Hyundai. As for the price, though, here in the UK, the ICE version of the Kona starts at £16,500. Most reviewers saying that £25,000 for the short range electric version and £30,000 for the long range Kona electric is about right. Take off both of those, the £4,500 government grant, and it starts to look like a very attractive option. The only issue is you can't buy one until the end of the year, so it's all theoretical at the moment. Well, staying in the family, and the Kia Niro hybrid and plug-in hybrid have been spotted now as a pure battery electric vehicle. The hybrids are already pretty great cars, actually. They use the same tech as the multi-drive trained IONIQ models. And my final Korean update today is the Kia Soul EV, this time using, you guessed it, the Hyundai Kona and Kia Niro platforms we've just talked about. It'll be launched in the second half of this year, and if you like the sound of everything I just said, I think it makes sense that you can apply it all to the brand new Soul EV. The current Soul has a 30 kilowatt hour battery, so even the short range Kona battery would give it a big step up, let alone that 64 kilowatt hour beast. One thing I should say about all of the above, given the IONIQ uses CCS for DC rapid charging, I don't think we'll be seeing much more of CHAdeMO or CHAdeMO, however you want to say it, coming from Korea very soon. Well, Volkswagen Group has made a big deal out of its EV investment, but one of the brands not associated with EVs is Skoda. However, from next year, Skoda will borrow a few electric parts from their VW colleagues as the powertrain will be lifted from the Passat GTE. The battery, however, won't be. That'll be a larger 13 kilowatt hour battery for a plug-in hybrid Skoda, which will give about 44 miles of range. If you have a 20-mile commute, in theory, you do most of your driving emissions free then, and you can charge at home, do 20 miles in each direction. And that's as far as Škoda are going for now, but considering they're able to go shopping, as it were, in the VW parts store, I wouldn't be surprised to see something coming from them at some point built on the ID series platform. Well, yesterday I mentioned on the podcast that Germany's allowing cities to ban diesels might embolden others to do the same. The snowball, the domino effect, if you like. What I didn't expect was that in less than 24 hours, another one would fall. This time, the mayor of Rome, Virginia Raggi, said on Facebook that Rome is set to ban diesels. Now, two things that Rome isn't short of: diesels and historic monuments. Around 2/3 of the cars sold there are diesel, and around 3,500 ancient stone monuments are at serious risk now from pollution, given there's no real heavy industry in Rome. That pollution's coming from the cars. Rome follows fellow Italian city Milan, which does have more industry, in announcing a diesel ban. Milan going for 2030. Well, moving on, and writing in today's Guardian newspaper here in the UK, Adam Vaughan makes the case that the uptake of EVs isn't because the slow uptake of EVs isn't because of a lack of chargers, but a lack of choice here in Europe. Now, here's a question. Have you heard of the Platform for Electromobility? No, me neither. It's a group of 31 interested parties, if you like. The car makers, the charging installers, the industrial groups, people like Tesla and Renault Nissan and Siemens make up this group, and in Europe they've done a study and they found that there are 6 EVs per public charger, and at the current rate of installation there'll be more than enough chargers until 2020. That's about actually double the range of the EU, the stats they wanted for chargers per car, and it's double that at the moment. One of the report's authors says this: it's a myth that's been spread by the car industry to create the impression they would love to sell more electric cars, but there just isn't the charging points out there. It's a smokescreen, end quote, he says. Let's talk more about chargers then, and on the subject of that, how fast is fast enough? Well, Porsche has long talked about their 800-volt, 350-kilowatt rapid chargers, and now they're installing them in all 189 Porsche dealerships in North America, as they prepare to sell the Mission E very soon. Charging that fast, if you can manage the temperatures of the batteries, can add 250 miles in just 20 minutes. But here's the question I want to ask: do you need to? It's a difference between EV owners and ICE car owners. Whilst EV owners know that on average 80% of all your charging is done at home, if you include your workplace charging as well, 96% in a recent Nissan study, 96% of all charging done between work and home. For some people, almost 100% charge at home. The last 100 years of driving cars has conditioned everybody to think about refueling as a thing you do. You wait till you get low, then you find a place en route that can add hundreds of miles quickly within a few minutes, and stopping at a petrol station. Well, it takes a very short period of owning an EV to realise that it's a behavioural shift more than anything else, ignoring the arguments of whether it's better to charge at home because you leave your house with a full tank of fuel. Let's not get into that argument, although of course it's right. I think the biggest benefit of a 350 kilowatt ultra charger is the PR job they'll do, much more than how much they'll ever be used. People will turn up to a Porsche dealership, see this massively powered charger, and you can fill your tank in 15-20 minutes, and people will buy a Porsche based on that. But they'll never use one. Well, have you got 96 minutes to spare to watch a video of a battery being torn apart? There's plenty of people, by the way, that have got this, have watched the video. It's a YouTube video of a professor at Weber State University in Utah taking apart the 60 kilowatt hour pack from the Chevy Volt. One of the insights which has got the internet commenters and the forums all frothy was that the nominal capacity wasn't 60, actually. It was 57 kilowatt hours. So it's commonly misquoted. It follows other teardowns of Model S batteries and Leaf batteries, but man, you've really got to love a teardown video to spend an hour and a half of your life watching it. And finally, well, this is a bit of a bittersweet story. It's kind of funny, but it's definitely not funny. We would never wish this on anyone, but if you're going to be carjacked hopefully you're carjacked by an idiot. Last Saturday in Austin, a man tried to hijack a Chevy Bolt whilst the owner was waiting at a stop sign. Now, this is horrible. The driver was attacked as this person got inside the car and he had to get out of the car to escape the attack on him. However, the hijacker couldn't do anything because he couldn't work out how to drive an electric car. In the time it took him to work out, he had no idea what to do inside a Bolt and scratch his head. One witness came running over to help, and that caused the hijacker to give up and flee, only to be found moments later by police, hiding in some grass. Well, my condolences to the victim. I do hope he is okay. Obviously, a horrible thing to go through. And I hope they throw the book at the brain box who can't work out how to drive an electric car. Well, finally, a reminder, the Jaguar I-Pace Facebook live launch is 1 p.m. Eastern Time today. If you are listening to this on Thursday, 1st of March, that's 6 p.m. UK, 7 p.m. Central. Thank you for listening today. Hope you enjoyed it. We'd love to spread the word about electric cars, so please do share this, if you can, with one person or more who might be interested. A reminder, you can listen to all of our previous podcasts on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and I'll work on tuning over the next couple of days, I promise. You can also download the Amazon Echo app if you want to, the skill. And you can also download the Amazon Echo skill for your Alexa devices. Just search EV News Daily and add it as a morning flash briefing so you can get the very latest news from your connected device. Come and say hi on Twitter at EV News Daily. Have a warm day. I'll see you tomorrow.